Good morning, Shawn here with Accelerators Organization, ready for another mentor session. Today, I will be answering questions that have been submitted in the portal for our members. So here we go, let's get this thing started. The first question comes from Carrington, and Carrington says, how could I make a loyalty program effective for my business? The background is I own a photography agency focusing on creating unique and creative product imagery for clients to use digitally to increase online sales. I've been unsuccessful over the past year or so to figure out a quote-unquote subscription model that would help bring in more clients and revenue on a retainer or additional monthly income basis. I was wondering if a loyalty program where people can earn points and get rewards to excite them and spark more recurring bookings would help. I would love to hear your ideas on whether a loyalty program like this would be good for my business, or what other options you would look at in order for me to create retainer clients as opposed to one-off bookings. Thanks so much. Carrington, as you can see, I drastically reframed and rephrased your question and the background of your business. I would certainly look to use part of this initial part for your about and how you explain your company. I own a photography agency focusing on creating unique and creative product imagery. Created that just for you. Now let's answer your question. And I know you have another question that you asked that I'm going to get to later. Loyalty programs are great for subscription type businesses. But generally, it's usually an enticement to get people to use that service on a long-term, ongoing basis. And my initial instinct is that a loyalty program is not something that's going to be beneficial for your business. A retainer type or subscription type of format for your business, absolutely. And I think your next question is going to be better for this. But one of the things I would look at for your business is how many product photographs does a company or brand need on an ongoing basis. And what I would look to do, and one of my software vendors does this with me, and it's great for her, it's great for me. She makes me buy a book of hours up front. So it's basically a retainer. We agree on the hourly rate that she's going to charge me, and then I have to buy a minimum of 10 hours in order to get her to do any work from me. So she charges $100 an hour, so I pay her $1,000, and I use it as fast or as slow as I want to use it. It doesn't matter if it takes me a month to use the 10 hours or if I use them all in 3 days. Every 10 hours, she bills me at a hourly rate of $100. Would this be something that you could do for your clients that gets them just thinking, oh, I just know that Carrington's my product imagery agency. I need to reach out to her when I need product photography, and you keep getting retainers. Obviously, the more volume that one of your clients does with you, you could provide larger level retainers, monthly packages, based on the number of the amount of volume that they are going to do. I'm going to talk about an additional way for your retainer on one of the other questions that you have later on. But for right now, that's what I would look at doing is I would search for clients that know that they constantly need product imagery done. So that's basically you just continuing to do more and more work for them, and you could charge that retainer route. That's what I would look to do in your business, okay? But loyalty program, something like that, probably not that needed. What you might want to implement as opposed to a loyalty program in this situation is there is a book called Giftology. And basically, gifting customers and clients who do business with us has a great, good meaning feeling to extend and deepen the relationship. And it's not about the gift itself, of what it is, whether or not they love it. You want people to love the idea of getting the gift and doing business with you, and that you're doing something that most people won't do. Most people don't send their clients thank you cards or gifts. And it's one of the most undervalued marketing tools to get more business. When people send me gifts, I check that box that, oh, this is a really cool person. They're different. I like the way they do business. I'm going to send them clients. I'm going to send them friends. I'm going to send them people that can help their business. So maybe a gifting program as opposed to a loyalty or rewards, formal loyalty or rewards program. Okay, that might help out. Okay, the next question comes from Robin, and Robin says, from a timeline perspective, what time frame should I be looking at to hit 6 figures in my business? The background is I'm an up-and-coming artist painting. I am working on building my portfolio, learning to sell, as well as even my own personal development. I come from a very limited mindset, and I am growing every day thanks to Accelerator's organization. How do I know if I'm on the right path? I am happy and I know it's going slow, but how do I know if things are on the right path? How do you determine that for you? Robin, I've got a bunch of other mentors answering this for you. So over the month, as you know, you'll get more emails with answers from some other mentors with their perspective. The answer to your question is a little bit challenging in the fact that the answer you're looking for is actually subjective based on your own desires and goals. It wouldn't be very mentor-like for me to tell you that you have to do this within this certain amount of time frame because that's what I would do. Everybody is unique and everybody's different. I know that you're a little bit older, won't give your age, and I know that you come from a very limited and scarcity mindset background, and that is going to lead you to probably grow a little slower than most people. And you don't have a lot of capital, and that's going to help. That's going to, and plus you don't have a massive network of people in order to sell your art to. And so the way that I would answer this if I were you is, what will make me happy? What time frame works for me? Am I surviving? Or am I not only surviving, but am I able to pay my bills and I'm happy and I can get the things that I want in life, from a daily survival perspective? Do I belong to a great network of people that support me? Do I have good people in my life? The money side is how fast you could hit 7 figures or 6 figures. That's all dependent on the type of business that you're doing as well. Plus it has to do with the skills that you have, the type of personality profile you have. A lot of people wonder why some people can grow their business so fast and they look like they are crushing it on social media and doing all this marketing. Well, some people have the personality type of that type of level of skill. There's a couple different personality profiles that that we recommend here in AO. One of them that I really love for small business owners and entrepreneurs, one of the very first tests that I recommend they take is called the Kolbe test, Kolbe. The Kolbe A is an apple test. This tells us what our natural connotative thinking is when we're trying to solve problems. And I won't go into all the detail here, but it's something that we can talk about on our monthly Zooms. I'm actually going this month to get certified as a Kolbe trainer because I definitely recognize the value of understanding my own strengths and weaknesses in order for me to set attainable and realistic goals for myself and my business. And we'll be talking a lot more about this in the months to come once I get my certification on this, okay? But remember, happiness, speed, quality, all of these things are subjective to our own self, and it's really important for us to know ourselves, what's going to make us happy, and set goals that are realistic and attainable to ourselves, as opposed to trying to compare with somebody else with more money, more network. Maybe they're great looking, they have shredded six-pack abs, they are popular. It's a little easier for those people than some of the other people like ourselves. And so we have to be cognitive to not beat ourselves up and think, well, we're not going fast enough. We're not building this quick enough. It's all subjective, and maintaining our balance and our happiness is the most important thing, as opposed to speed and in the quantity of the money that we're making, okay? Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Robin, and Robin says, how would you respond to a prospect who says they do not have wall space for more art? The background is, as an artist working on location, this is often a response I often a response when a client sees and loves my art. With that, I started creating tiny drawings for tiny spaces. Thoughts? How would you overcome that objection? This one is actually, my initial response to this objection is actually super simple, but there's some salesmanship that needs to go into this. So let's pretend that you are painting out in a park with your easel, and people are walking by and naturally curious as to what you're doing, and you start evoking a conversation with somebody, a complete stranger, right? And they say, oh, I really love your stuff. Thanks so much. I really appreciate this. If you don't mind me asking, what is it that you like about this? What draws you in? What are the types of things that you really enjoy about this type of art? And then sit back and listen, and remember how to engage and actively listen. There is a term that you can Google called active listening. Really important. It's looking them in the eyes, using body movement. All these types of things can be shown that you are actively listening, which people really love active listeners. Then I might lead them with an additional question and say something like, oh, do you collect much art? What type of art do you collect? And this is really important for you to be an expert in the industry of art, to understand and know other artists so that you can try to find some sort of equal dialogue with the type of art that they like, right? Everything in sales in the very beginning of the sales cycle is about establishing rapport, trust. People tend, in this type of situation of yours, to buy something from somebody that they truly like, even if they have no need for the product. They might say, oh, how much do you charge? Oh, I've got all kinds of stuff from $5 to $5,000, and they might just tip you. I would have a tip jar out there with my Venmo or my PayPal, Cash App, or whatever, because people might just tip you to support you as an up-and-coming and ongoing artist. Never miss that opportunity. Remember, you're a business person. You're an entrepreneur. People love to support small business, especially when they see them doing the act. I see this in parks all the time. But when they say, oh, you know what, I don't really have any more space for art on my walls. First off, that objection is complete and utter bullshit. Everybody has room on a wall in their house, bathroom, garage, somewhere to put another piece of art if they really love it. So that objection is not a real objection. But if somebody gave me that objection, if I had already properly done all of the rapport building, relationship building conversation, and then somebody still said, gosh, I really love your stuff. I just really, and if they start looking up to the left, that means they're truly thinking about where they could put the art. I just am not sure where I could put this. I don't think I have any space. Well, John, listen, I totally get that. In fact, as an artist, you can imagine how much art I have on my wall at my house. Two things. Check out these little tiny space drawings that I'm doing. These are 3 by 4, 2 by 4, whatever. These will fit anywhere. And check out the little magnetic cases that I have for these. Why don't you pick up one of these, reminisce on it, look at it, and then if and it has my information on the back, has my website address or has my phone number, whatever. Take this one to start off. A lot of my clients, just to start developing an appreciation for the art, they start off with one of my tiny drawings. They're $20, $30, whatever it might be, $10, whatever it might be. And I'll tell you what, why don't you give me your email address, and I send out emails with all different types of tiny art and other things that I do. Always remember to get that email address so you could put them on your email list to showcase all your stuff on a monthly basis, right? Then you could say, listen, John, what about this? You have got to know somebody who has done something nice for you recently. We all have somebody who has done something nice for us recently, right? Why don't you pick up one of these as a gift? Everybody loves really nice, custom, one-of-a-kind art. All of these are one-of-a-kind. They're $30. Why don't you pick one up as a gift and gift to somebody? I know it would make their day. These are all types of little strategies that you can use to impulse somebody to buy from you that minute, which is really important for you to make money as an artist. Okay, so that's what I would do. Remember, first off, that the first objection that most people give us is not actually a real objection. Okay, so bypass that first objection and try to come up with some other ideas. Be ready with these ideas so that when this situation happens with you, you can go ahead and try and make a sale immediately. But don't forget to get that email address if you can. And the only way someone's truly going to want to give you their email address is if you do what I said first. Don't skip building the relationship and rapport building stage of the cycle. If you can properly establish trust and rapport with good conversation to where they like you, they're probably going to give you their email address to keep in touch, and they will probably walk away with one of your lower priced items in order for you to build a relationship to someday sell them a $500 or $5,000 piece. Okay? Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Carrington, and Carrington says, how would you try and sell multiple services to one client? The background is I own a photography agency focusing on creating unique and creative product imagery for clients to use digitally to increase online sales. Even though product photography is my core service, I see clients that also need and want content creation or content strategy help as well. This could be good for my business to add this fee for my services and deepen the relationship with them. How would you approach selling them strategy sessions as well as the product photography without losing out on the photography revenue? I don't want to lose out on that revenue, but I see the need for strategy. Okay, you can see once again, Carrington, I rephrased and reframed your question in a way that you're going to get more value. One of the things that we do as mentors is we learn how to actually ask the right questions in order to get the right value from the answers that we receive from our mentors. So all the time, whenever people like yourself submit questions, I'm trying to dissect it and reframe it and rephrase it in a way that's going to get you the most value from our mentee-mentor relationship. Okay, I love this one because this is how you could establish a more ongoing retainer business. As somebody, as you know, who understands and actually coaches people on brand strategy on an ongoing basis, most companies have a need, an ongoing need for strategy. Usually it's the owner of the business, and most owners of their business are really, really expert at what they sell, what they sell, the product or the service, but they are not strategy experts. They're not expert on brand strategy, brand identity, and brand messaging, which are some of the things, that you do as a company. You know, you focus on brand identity, which is the product photography that's going to be used in brand messaging, website, e-commerce store, marketing materials, sales materials, brochures, etc. But one of the questions that I would ask if I was a product photographer for a client, if I understood brand strategy and actually knew how to do a little bit of brand strategy myself, is I would talk to them and say, do you have a copy of your brand style guide with your mission, vision, unique selling proposition, ideal client? Do you have that brand style guide that you can forward me? As I'm taking photography or photographs for your products, it would help me to understand your brand style guide and brand strategy in order to make sure that I am staying on brand. As you know, especially with smaller businesses, most smaller businesses don't have that, and that is an immediate opportunity for you to either be the agency or develop a relationship with a brand agency in order to get that client that brand strategy done. As you know, if we don't have a real brand strategy, it's really difficult for us to even create a logo, decide on colors, font hierarchy, and then know how to design the proper website and copywriting for all of our brand and product descriptions, because everything is derived from the actual strategy of the company and what makes it unique, who the ideal client is, and so forth. So in this perspective, you're now getting, you need access to that brand strategy. You're in the brand identity phase, but now you're in the brand messaging phase of content creation. We cannot create great content strategy or without knowing what the brand strategy is. So this is the way that you truly could start building up an agency to perform more of this. Now, one of the things I would also look to do is talk with AJ, talk with Eric Ovensny. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He's going to kill me for not even getting his last name right. But talk to some of these other individuals that run agencies and do social media content and so forth, because that's a whole business in itself. There are people making six figures just doing social media content creation, posting, and interaction with the DMs and lead generation. Okay, so this is something for sure that you could get into if you want to get into more than just the product photography side. But that's where the monthly retainer could lie, but that's definitely building more of an agency. And that's why in the past I've spoken with you about partnering with agencies and being their product photography specialist, so that you could just be turning and burning with amazing product photography and getting the highest dollar amount there. Or do you want to step into being an agency yourself? That's a question that I would certainly ask yourself and decide whether you want to partner with people or whether there are some services you want to provide yourself, or whether you want to subcontract or partner with other agencies. Food for thought, okay? Okay, the next question comes from Brad. And Brad says, how do you know when the time is right to leave your full-time job and go all in on your business? Okay. The background is I am currently a full-time firefighter and paramedic for a local municipality and have 13 years of service invested with 12 more for retirement. The climate has changed drastically, and although I've never dreamed I would even consider leaving the fire service, I find myself struggling to find a reason to stay. My business has been growing slowly over the last several years, but it's still not at the point where I feel comfortable leaving the guaranteed income of my fire job. However, I am totally burnt out and ready to leave. It's the fear that's holding me back and the lure of the guaranteed income and benefits that keeps me there. So how do I know when it's the right time or when I should make the leap? I've got a lot of other mentors answering this one for you, Brad. And I think a lot of this comes down to you knowing what you want out of life. And it's always scary to change. There's actually a book called Who Moved My Cheese? You might pick up that book, Who Moved My Cheese? It's all about change. And being comfortable with change is a learned skill. It really is. And there are certain personality profiles that the connotative thinking, this is the Colby test that I love to recommend. There are people that their innate connotative thinking is to not change. They want to stabilize their life from change. And so it might make sense for you to, if you'll send me an email, I'll get you a link for that test. You might want to take this test to understand how your mind thinks as it relates to solving problems. You might be somebody that says, I don't like change, I don't want to change. But then you're like, but wait a second, but I'm not happy, I'm burnt out, I'm miserable. So there's a lot of moving parts with what makes us burnt out. Why are we not happy with the way things are? So this is a really difficult question to ask from a personal development perspective. But as it relates to quitting your job and going into your business full time, we've had several people in Accelerator's organization quit their job and go into their business full time, and every single one of them always says the same thing. I wish I would have done it sooner because I'm making more money, I'm happier, and it was not even remotely as difficult as I thought it was going to be. You belong to a great community of people that are going to support you. You get involved in the monthly Zooms. I have zero doubt if you worked 60 hours a week in the beginning, 60 hours a week in your business, you working with our mentors to learn how to market your business. You now have 2 vehicles on the road. We would work on marketing and advertising your business to get more business. We would work on you creating a better culture and team environment for the people that work with you in order to build that loyalty so that you could continue to grow the number of trucks that you've got on the road. We would also look at expanding the number of services that your business can provide, which can provide you more opportunities to create additional lines of revenue, which is going to make you more money. I have zero doubt that you would replace the income from your guaranteed or so-called guaranteed environment, because when you're an employee, you can always get fired. You might not, because you're in a very specific situation, but I think a lot of people forget that when you're an employee, you can get fired. When you're a business owner, you don't get fired. We as business owners, we have to just learn how to sell and go out there and fill a need in the marketplace. So I think that if you really set out a plan and you created an Excel spreadsheet with the amount of money that you have coming in from your work, the amount of money coming in from your business, and then charted out how much more time you would have to work on your business if you didn't have your job, that you would replace the amount of guaranteed revenue that you have coming in from your job. I'll bet you would replace that within 2 to 3 months minimum. Maximum 3 months, and you would replace your guaranteed income if you worked like a business owner and went all in on your business. You continued to use what we have here in AO, maybe even got some additional coaching, one-on-one coaching for accountability and idea creation, but just getting involved in the monthly Zooms and deciding that you're ready to take action, 3 months maximum. So if you think you could float financially for 3 months off of your savings, credit cards, whatever, in order to quit your job and go full-time in your business, my guess and bet all day long is that every entrepreneur would say, jump. Okay, the next question comes from Kelly, and Kelly says, what things would you recommend I do to help me better manage my time? The background is Kelco is an excavation company specializing in trenching, site prep, road work, aggregate hauling, and heavy equipment operations to include forestry, land clearing, and most earthwork operations. I'm looking for the most effective way to manage my daily tasks, business, family time, personal growth time, and me time. I have a daily and monthly planner, but I'm still thinking there has to be a more effective way to manage my time. I feel like I should be more productive. Okay, one of the things I like to do to manage my time is not manage my time. I like to measure my results. If I am achieving the results that I know that I should be achieving in my business, and in my life, then I'm happy. I don't need to mess with anything. Don't fix something that's not broken. But if you think that there is more that you could get done, the only way truly to know if that's true is to maybe get a consultant or coach to come in there and help you analyze what you're doing. Set out what we call key performance indicators, which are KPIs, and say, listen, this is what I should accomplish on a daily basis for this task, this task, this task, this task. And then at the end of the day, write down what you did and start measuring. You can't manage what you don't measure. If you are not measuring your output, how do you know what you should and shouldn't be doing from a time management perspective? That's the number one thing that a lot of small business owners don't learn how to do, is measure output, measure activity level. Once you can measure it over a certain amount of time, 90 days to 6 months, you can then start figuring out where your most optimal time is best suited. I used to answer this question very simply after I started to really build my last company. The way that I best manage my time is by having an executive assistant. Someone that I constantly say, remind me to do this, call this person and set up this meeting for this, this, and this, and this. Book this on my calendar, get this. And I have somebody to immediately delegate all the things that I know I need to do, and I give it to them so that they manage all of those activities and remind me, because I'm always thinking about all the things I have to do. I'm getting pulled in all kinds of different directions, from clients to team members to vendors to partners to my personal life, everything, that I just simply forget all the things that I need to do. So what I got into the habit of doing was, every time I thought there was something that I needed to do, I immediately sent my executive assistant a DM, a text message. I yelled across the room to her office, whatever it was, and I said, put this on the parking lot. I called it a parking lot. put this on the parking lot, and every week we would get together at the beginning of the week and we would look over a very itemized list of all of the parking lot stuff that I gave her. And then she would say, and I would say, okay, I need to have this one done by this time. This one can go to next week. This can go to next month. This one, remind me in 3 months. It's not really that important. And I would start going into the quadrant of what Stephen Covey talks about in the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. There's quadrants of what's urgent, immediate, not urgent, all those things. And it would just help me remember all the things I needed to get done and then prioritize them based on the availability of my schedule that day or that week. And that could help. That is what best helped me manage my time, was getting somebody to help me do it, because it's not something I was great at. This is one, and this is the final question, and I'll leave you with this. The old school of thinking in business back in the old days was, if somebody wasn't good at something at their job, we would send them to training to get better at that. Well, then what would happen is their work at what they were good at, that would suffer, because now they're out there learning how to do things that they're not that great at innately. And so we gave them too much to do. And it actually made their whole position suffer. The new level of thought out there in leadership is, let people focus on what they are great at, because if they focus on the things they're great at, they're probably going to love doing it. And let's just make sure we give them enough work to keep productive from the time they get to work until the time they leave. If you know that you're not great with time management, then you want to find somebody, even if it's just part-time, 5 hours a week, whatever, an hour a day. Find somebody who can help you document all the things that you know need to be done. Get your report of all that stuff so that you can start learning how to just prioritize, because maybe you're better at prioritizing the task list than managing the task list itself. And you can get a virtual assistant for $1,500, $1,700 a month, whatever it might be, to help you manage that process. And we have a mentor in the group, Brad, who runs a virtual assistant outsourcing company in the Philippines, and so I'll be more than happy to introduce you to them. But that's a whole other management thing there, because a lot of people think, oh, I just need to hire a virtual assistant, but then they've never managed somebody, they've never documented processes, they don't know how to train those people, and there's a whole amount of processes of learning how to do that as well. So anyway, so that's how I love to manage my time, is get an assistant to help me. All right. I could go on and on about all the things that I do individually on that. But anyway, I hope that helps you. That was today's mentor session here in Accelerators Organization. Hope you guys have a great day, morning, or night, wherever you are in the world. And make sure you get into the portal. You can get into the portal by either going to the portal on your computer, or just go to the mobile application for Accelerators Organization. Click the bottom right button, and it says Ask a Question. Click that Ask a Question and ask a question in the portal. All right? Talk to you soon. Peace out.